Good day, students, and welcome to our online science class. Before we begin, make sure to prepare the following materials with you. Your textbook, pages 9 to 15, a pen, and a highlighter. The topic that we are going to discuss in this video is Lesson 1 of Chapter 1, What Makes Up Matter. The objective of this lesson is to use models to investigate that matter is made up of particles that are too small to be seen. Like ice, water, and air, you are made of matter. All living and non-living things are made up of matter. But what is matter? Matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. Mass is the amount of matter in an object. Matter includes the food we eat, our homes, our furniture, the sun and the moon, and even that book you're holding. This sand sculpture is made of matter. It takes up a lot of space and it has a large mass. But if you look at it closely, you will see that it is made of tiny sand grains. A sand grain is also made of matter. It is gritty and tan-colored, like the sculpture. But unlike the sculpture, a sand grain has a small mass and it does not take up a lot of space. All matter is made of tiny parts. You can probably think of many kinds of food, many different medicines, or several types of fabric. Have you ever wondered how many different kinds of matter exist? The world around you is made of thousands of materials, but all these materials are made of the same basic kinds of matter, called the elements. Elements are the ingredients that make up all other substances. Elements cannot be broken down into other substances with ordinary physical or chemical processes. There are over 100 elements. Each element has a specific characteristics. Examples of elements are oxygen, hydrogen, helium, and carbon. Most elements are metals. Metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. They can be shaped into sheets or wires that can bend without breaking. Mercury is a liquid metal. It has many uses. For example, it can be used in thermometers. Mercury is toxic and must be handled with care. Aluminum is light and strong. It is used to make ladders, airplane parts, and other items that need to be strong without being heavy. Calcium is important for strong bones. You get calcium from food, but pure calcium is a metal. The calcium in food is combined with other elements. Dairy products can be a good source of calcium. Elements that do not conduct heat or electricity very well are called nonmetals. Some nonmetals are gases. One example is the oxygen you breathe. Other nonmetals, such as carbon, are solid. The oxygen that we breathe are made up of two oxygen atoms. Neon belongs to a group of elements called the noble gases. These gases usually do not combine with other elements. Neon is used in neon signs. Sulfur is a solid non-metal. It can be found in nature as a mineral. Sulfur is brittle and burns easily. Sulfur compounds are used to make matches. Semimetals are elements that are sometimes like metals and sometimes like non-metals. For example, they may conduct electricity, but only when light is shining on them. Silicon can be obtained from sand. This is a purified silicon. It will be used to make chips for electronic devices such as pocket calculators and computers. The smallest part of an element that still has the properties of the element is called an atom. Atoms are too small to be seen with a regular microscope, but special instruments can show how atoms are arranged. Atoms are fundamental building blocks of chemistry. Just like a cookie made up of different types of ingredients, matter is made up of different types of atoms. We have over 100 kinds of atoms, which we call elements. We can find elements laid out in a chart called the periodic table. All of the things from your screen to the eyeballs with which you're watching it are made up of atoms. Atoms are too tiny to be seen with the naked eye. Special instruments can show atoms. This is an actual photo of silicon atoms. We can enhance it and add colors to look like this. This is an actual photo of a nitrogen atom. When this photo is enhanced, nitrogen atom would look like this. The atoms of each element are different from the atoms of other elements. However, the atoms of all elements have something in common. They are made up of the same three types of particles: protons, neutrons, and electrons. The number of protons determine what element an atom will be. For example, an atom of carbon always has 6 protons. No other element has atoms with 6 protons. As long as an atom has exactly 6 protons, it will be an atom of carbon. Matter is made up of subatomic particles, electrons, protons, and neutrons. This image of a nitrogen atom can be simplified from a model which is shown on the right. Protons and neutrons cluster at the nucleus of an atom. This gives the atoms its mass. A gold atom has 79 protons, which is heavier as compared to nitrogen. The number of protons an atom contains determine the type of atom it is. Assuming that we have the technology to do so, if we would add another proton to a nitrogen atom, we would be able to change its chemical properties and transform it to oxygen atom. Taking a proton away from the nitrogen atom will transform it to carbon atom. Each element has a number. This number tells us how many protons a single atom of that element contains. Protons are positively charged particles. Neutrons have no charge. Electrons are negatively charged particles. Gold is a pure element. All gold is made of the same type of atoms. Every atom of gold has exactly 79 protons. If we would zoom in into gold, we can see how tightly packed its atoms are. And if we would zoom into each atom, we would see that protons and neutrons cluster at the center of the atom. This cluster is called the nucleus. Electrons move around the nucleus. We can model it like this. At the center is the nucleus where protons and neutrons can be found. Around it are the electrons. Since all substances are made of elements, and all elements are made of atoms, all the matter around you is made of atoms. The idea that everything is made of small particles is known as the atomic theory. Atoms are often connected to other atoms in specific ways. The way atoms are connected affect the properties of an element. For example, when carbon atoms are connected as flat sheets, the carbon is soft and black. This form of carbon is called graphite. The lead of a pencil is made of graphite. If the same carbon atoms are connected as pyramids, they form diamonds. Diamonds are used to make jewels. Unlike graphite, diamonds are transparent and very hard. However, diamonds and graphite are both made of carbon atoms. Most things around you are compounds. A compound is a type of matter made up of two or more elements. In a compound, the atoms of these elements are joined together in a particular way. Under right conditions, certain elements will react to each other upon mixing to form new substance with new properties. Sodium and chlorine can mix and form a table salt. A table salt is an example of a compound. Oxygen and iron will form iron oxide, which is rust. Oxygen and mercury can form mercury oxide, which is toxic. Oxygen and hydrogen can form dihydrogen monoxide, or what we call water. When elements come together to form a compound, the compound is not simply a mixture of elements. It is a new substance. It is different from its ingredients. Chlorine is a poisonous gas. Sodium is a soft metal. But when they mix together forming table salt, it will be white and solid. It is not poisonous. The smallest particle of a compound that still has the properties of that compound is called a molecule. A molecule is a group of atoms stuck together usually through chemical bonds. A single hydrogen atom is made of one proton and one electron. If this atom comes close to another hydrogen atom, they can pull each other and stick together. Two hydrogen atoms form one hydrogen molecule. A water molecule only has 3 atoms, 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. A molecule of a glucose sugar has 24. 12 hydrogens, 6 carbons, and 6 oxygens. Fatty acids has 38 atoms. Protein can have 500,000 of atoms. Changing the number, kind, or position of the atoms in a molecule would result in a molecule of a different substance. For example, a water molecule always has 1 atom of oxygen and 2 atoms of hydrogen. Adding an extra oxygen atom would turn a water molecule into a molecule of a different substance. Today we learned that matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. Mass is the amount of matter in an object. Elements are the ingredients that make up all the other substances. Metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. Nonmetals are poor conductors of heat and electricity. Semimetals are elements that are sometimes like metals and sometimes like nonmetals. Atom is the smallest part of an element that still has the properties of the element. Protons and neutrons cluster at the center of the atom called the nucleus. Electrons move around the nucleus. Protons are positively charged. Neutrons have no charge. Electrons are negatively charged. A compound is a type of matter made of two or more elements. A molecule is the smallest particle of a compound that still has the properties of that compound. Don't forget to log into your Pearson account for online homework. I hope that you learned a lot from this video. Until next time!